I've decided to start a new life, without you. The words hung in the air like shattered glass. We were in the middle of an elegant celebration, our daughter Amelia's college graduation, surrounded by friends, family, and 50 flickering candles in a high-end Augusta restaurant. Gregory, my husband of 28 years, stood with his champagne glass raised, but instead of a toast, he delivered that bombshell. Utensils froze midair, conversations halted mid-sentence, 50 pairs of eyes turned toward us, waiting, bracing, for the scene, the tears, the screaming, the betrayal, but I didn't give them the satisfaction. Instead, I smiled. Congratulations on your honesty. My name is Bianca Caldwell, I'm 54 years old, and up until this moment, I had performed the role of devoted wife and mother flawlessly. I had sacrificed career dreams to support Gregory through 3 business ventures, 2 career pivots, and countless finding himself phases. I had raised our brilliant daughter Amelia, who now sat beside me, still in her graduation cap, her expression frozen in horror. From the corner of my eye, I caught sight of Cassandra Wells, Gregory's much younger mistress, fidgeting at the far table, seated among people I once considered friends, friends who'd known, friends who'd smiled in my face. Cassandra had attended our Christmas parties. She'd once called me for career advice. I reached into my handbag with deliberate calm and pulled out a sealed cream-colored envelope. I placed it beside Gregory's plate. "What's this?" he asked, his triumphant smirk fading. "Something for you to read later," I replied, voice even. Turning to Amelia, I kissed her cheek and said, "I'm so proud of you, sweetheart. This is still your day." Then I stood, smoothed my dress, and addressed the stunned guests. "Please enjoy your meal. I wish you all a lovely afternoon." I walked out, head high, heels clicking on the marble floor as 50 silent witnesses followed my every step. The restaurant door closed behind me, muffling a rising tide of anxious murmurs. Outside, the Georgia heat greeted me like a slap, but for the first time in years, I welcomed it. I could breathe. Behind me, the door burst open. "Bianca, what the hell is this? What have you done?" Gregory's voice was high-pitched now, no longer confident. I didn't turn. I didn't stop. I allowed myself the faintest of smiles, because that envelope, oh, that little envelope, contained the beginning of his downfall. The revenge I had spent months building. You see, I was always the practical one. While Gregory dreamed, I planned. While he took risks, I kept us grounded. I was the one who worked overtime to fund Amelia's education when Gregory quit his job to sell handcrafted furniture, a phase that lasted 6 months. I kept our finances afloat when his restaurant investment failed. I put off opening my own financial consultancy again and again. After Amelia graduates, I told myself, after Gregory finds stability. 3 months ago, I noticed some small irregularities in our joint accounts, transfers to unfamiliar names. I could have confronted him, but something told me to wait. Instead, I investigated, quietly, and what I uncovered was worse than I'd imagined. Gregory had been siphoning funds into a private account for over a year. He was wining and dining Cassandra, buying her jewelry, even scouting beachfront properties, all while telling me we needed to tighten our belts for retirement. Then came the text messages, his unlocked phone a goldmine of betrayal, plans, lies, even the exact date for his big exit, the day after Amelia's graduation. But Gregory had forgotten who I was, a finance manager with 30 years of experience, a woman who knows how to follow money trails, and, crucially, a woman who remembers every clause of a prenuptial agreement, especially the one he insisted on all those years ago to protect his future earnings. It had a fidelity clause. And it was still valid. While he planned his escape, I gathered proof. I hired a lawyer. I documented every financial move, every secret dinner. I filed for divorce and had the papers served the morning of Amelia's graduation, before his planned grand reveal. He had no idea. I didn't go back to the restaurant. I drove home to our beautiful colonial in Augusta's historic district, the same house Gregory had promised Cassandra in one of his texts, the same home I'd made ours for 15 years. I entered silently, past our framed memories and familiar furniture. I went upstairs and opened the closet. His clothes were already packed in suitcases, hidden in the back, ready for his departure. How predictable. My phone buzzed. Friends, Amelia, even Gregory's sister. I responded to one person. I'm okay. This isn't your burden to carry. Enjoy your graduation day. We'll talk tonight. I love you. Amelia would be angry that I'd hidden the truth, but she'd understand one day. 3 hours later, I heard his car screech into the driveway. The door slammed. Bianca, he bellowed, where are you? I was in the living room, calmly reviewing documents on my laptop. I closed it as he stormed in, face red, envelope crumpled in his hand. What is this? He demanded. You served me divorce papers today? Of all days? I thought it aligned nicely with your plans. I said smoothly, you wanted to start a new life. I'm just helping you transition. You had no right. I had every right. I cut in, just as you had the right to choose Cassandra. We all make choices, Gregory. The prenup expired years ago, he sneered. Any lawyer will tell you that. I allowed myself a small, satisfied smile. Actually, it didn't. Section 12, Fidelity Clause, remains in effect for the duration of the marriage. Perhaps your lawyer should have explained that to you. Oh, wait, you didn't hire one. The color drained from his face. He finally realized the prenup he had once demanded would now cost him everything: our home, the Savannah property, his share of our retirement. His public declaration had become the most expensive mistake of his life. You can't do this to me, he whispered, collapsing onto the couch. We built this life together, I said gently, and you chose to end it. Just, not the way you planned. His phone buzzed. He ignored it. Cassandra, no doubt wondering why the puppet show hadn't gone as rehearsed. You've always been calculating, Bianca, but this is cold. What about our history? 28 years, doesn't that mean anything? I studied the man I'd once loved, the man who had held me through miscarriages, who once surprised me with a Charleston getaway on our 10th anniversary. When had he changed? Or had he always been this way, and I'd simply loved him too much to see? Our history meant everything to me, I said quietly. That's why your betrayal cut so deep. His expression softened. Then maybe we can fix this. I made a mistake, Bianca. People make mistakes. No, I said. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. This was a year-long operation. You're exaggerating. I picked up my phone, tapped a recording, and let it play. Gregory's voice. After the graduation, I'll tell her it's over. A public setting is better. She won't make a scene in front of everyone. Cassandra's voice. And she has no idea about the money? Gregory again. None. Bianca trusts me completely. That's her weakness. He went pale. I stood, calm and composed. That's the difference between us, Gregory. You mistook trust for weakness. I mistook charm for character, but only one of us learned. You recorded our conversations? His voice rose, indignant. That's illegal. Not in Georgia, I replied coolly, as long as one party consents, and not when it's in your own home. I held his gaze. I didn't record your private moments with Cassandra. I'm not cruel. Just the conversations about your plans to defraud me. Gregory shot up from the couch, agitated. I need to make some calls. Your attorney might be a good place to start, I suggested. I'll be staying at Diana's tonight. He blinked. Diana's? My sister's house. I nodded. She's quite upset with you. Actually, she spotted you and Cassandra together last Christmas. She didn't tell me at first. She confronted you. You promised her it was nothing and that you'd end it. When she realized you hadn't, she came to me. That hit him hard. He never imagined his own sister would take my side. Everyone's betraying me, he muttered. Ironic, isn't it? I said, calmly picking up my purse and the overnight bag I had packed earlier. You have until tomorrow evening to remove your things from the house. After that, the locks will be changed. As I walked to the door, he called out, desperation cracking his voice. What about Amelia? Have you thought about how this affects her? I paused. My calm facade faltered, just for a moment. Don't you dare use our daughter as a shield, Gregory. You weren't thinking about her when you planned your beachfront future with Cassandra. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it and groaned. Problem? I asked. Cassandra's already at the apartment. She's moved her things in. I smiled. The apartment you put in both your names? The lease you signed last month? He nodded, confused. You might want to check with the leasing office. The application was flagged for credit issues and never finalized. The agent called the house phone. I handled it. I left him standing there, the pieces of his perfect plan unraveling in his hands. Diana's bungalow was across town, nestled near the university where she taught literature. When I arrived, she pulled me into a fierce hug. "I just spoke to Amelia," she said, ushering me in. "Are you okay?" "Better than I expected," I admitted. A bottle of wine was already open in the kitchen. "I never thought Gregory would humiliate you like that," Diana said, pouring 2 glasses. "At the restaurant, in front of everyone. Has he lost his mind?" "It was meant to be a public rejection," I explained, "so I'd look hysterical if I fought back." She scowled. "Typical Gregory, always needs to control the story." We settled in the sunroom, surrounded by books and potted plants. I'd sometimes envied her independence. "What was in that envelope that rattled him so much?" she asked. "The divorce papers, the evidence of financial deception, and most importantly, the prenuptial agreement." "The prenup?" Diana chuckled darkly. "I remember when he insisted on it, after Dad gave him money for his first business. He was desperate to protect himself. The irony is delicious." My phone rang. "Amelia." I braced myself. "Mom," she said, voice tight, "I'm coming to Aunt Diana's." "You don't have to. I'm already on my way. Dad's telling everyone you've lost your mind. He's saying awful things." "Let him talk," I said. "The truth will catch up." 20 minutes later, Amelia walked in, still in her graduation dress, makeup smudged from tears. She collapsed into my arms. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked. "I didn't want to ruin your final semester. You worked so hard." "Well, Dad ruined it anyway," she muttered. In Diana's living room, I told her everything: Gregory's affair, the hidden accounts, the future he planned with Cassandra. "I knew something was off," Amelia said. "He was always distracted, but I never imagined." Diana nodded gently. "None of us want to see these things in people we love." My phone buzzed again. A message from Philip, my attorney. The emergency filing was approved. The identified accounts were frozen. Gregory had access only to a limited personal fund, just enough to live, not enough to run off with Cassandra. I showed the message to Diana and Amelia. "Good," Amelia said fiercely. "He deserves it." I softened. "He's still your father." She shook her head. "Maybe someday I'll feel differently, but not today." The doorbell rang. Diana returned moments later with a grim expression. "It's Gregory," she said, "and he brought Cassandra." I stood tall. Gregory looked furious. Cassandra, uncomfortable. "Bianca," he snapped, "you need to stop this insanity. Unfreeze the accounts. Let's talk like adults." Amelia stepped between us. "Maybe you should have done that before making a scene at my graduation." Gregory blinked. "Amelia, this doesn't involve you." "Doesn't involve me?" she scoffed. "You destroyed our family today, on my day." Cassandra tugged at his arm. "Greg, maybe we should go." He shook her off. "Not until Bianca comes to her senses." Diana crossed her arms. "Bianca's the only rational one here. You made this mess, Gregory." I remained seated, letting the drama unfold. I had played peacemaker for too long. That chapter was over. "The accounts will remain frozen until the hearing," I said evenly. 3 days from now, the judge will decide asset division." 3 days? Gregory sputtered. "What am I supposed to do?" "You have your personal account," I reminded him. "The one you've been funneling money into for a year." Cassandra turned sharply. "You have a separate account? With how much?" Interesting. Clearly, she wasn't fully in the loop either. "This is vindictive, Bianca. This isn't you." "Maybe you never really knew me," I replied, "just like I never really knew you." Amelia turned to Cassandra. "Did you know he was going to announce it like that today?" Cassandra looked down. "I thought he'd speak to your mother privately. The announcement wasn't the plan." Gregory glared at her. "Both of you should leave," Diana said. "You've done enough damage." Gregory tried one last time. "Amelia, you understand how relationships change, right?" She stood firm. "I understand that you're a coward, that while I worked 2 jobs to pay for my textbooks, you were stealing from our family. Please leave." A heavy silence fell. Then Gregory turned and left, Cassandra trailing behind. At the door, he glanced back. "This isn't over, Bianca. I'll fight you." I met his gaze. "You're welcome to try." After they left, Amelia curled up beside me on the sofa. "I've never talked to Dad like that." I held her close. Standing up for what's right is hard, but necessary. Diana brought more wine. To new beginnings. Indeed, I thought, this wasn't just an end, it was the beginning of something far better. The family home will remain in Mrs. Caldwell's possession during proceedings, as stipulated in the prenuptial agreement's infidelity clause. Gregory's face turned a deep shade of red. This is outrageous, he muttered loud enough for me to hear. The judge didn't flinch. Mr. Caldwell, I suggest you review the agreement you signed more carefully, she said, her voice clipped and stern. This court will reconvene in 30 days for a full hearing once discovery is complete. Outside the courtroom, Gregory hurried to catch up to me. Bianca, please, we need to talk about this like adults. 28 years together has to count for something. It did, I replied, my voice calm, until you decided it didn't. I walked away, leaving him alone in the courthouse corridor, finally beginning to grasp the consequences of his betrayal. News traveled fast through our social circles. Friends called daily, some to offer support, others seeking gossip. I said only what needed to be said. Gregory and I are separating. These things happen. Meanwhile, Gregory's carefully cultivated image, successful entrepreneur, devoted husband, family man, was beginning to crumble. The financial freeze meant his future with Cassandra was unraveling. The beachfront property he'd promised her slipped through his fingers. The luxury car? Cancelled. 2 weeks later, Diana called me, her voice tinged with amusement. Have you heard the latest? She asked. Cassandra moved out. Already? I wasn't surprised, only impressed by the speed. Apparently, she found out Gregory's business isn't doing as well as he claimed. Turns out, those substantial savings he talked about were mostly fiction. She told her friend Jennifer she didn't sign up to date a man with financial problems. I laughed. He was always skilled at illusions. While Gregory's world unraveled, I was rebuilding mine. The financial security I'd quietly maintained, separate from our joint accounts, offered me a freedom Gregory never expected. I rented a small office downtown and began building the consultancy I had dreamed of for years. My first clients were 2 women navigating divorces of their own. Word spread. I carved out a niche helping women understand and manage their finances during life transitions, divorce, widowhood, career changes. For the first time, my work felt purposeful in a way corporate life never had. Amelia, now working at a marketing firm in Charleston, called regularly. I'm so proud of you, Mom, she said after I told her about the growing client list. You're helping people when they need it most. I'm just doing what I wish someone had done for me, I said, helping women prepare for whatever might come. Being needed for my knowledge instead of just my caregiving was a quiet, powerful shift. The final divorce hearing took place on what would have been our 29th anniversary, a fitting bookend to nearly 3 decades of shared history. Gregory looked tired, drawn. I later learned his business was faltering without my guidance or financial backing. Cassandra had long since vanished, reportedly dating a real estate developer in Savannah. Most of our mutual friends had quietly distanced themselves. The judge upheld the prenuptial agreement in its entirety. Gregory left with his personal possessions, a struggling business, and what remained in his private account, barely enough to rent a modest apartment after paying his attorney. I retained our home, my retirement accounts, and 70% of our joint investments, exactly as the agreement stipulated in the event of infidelity. Poetic justice, the very document Gregory had insisted upon to protect himself, had become his undoing. As we left the courtroom, he stopped me one final time. I made a terrible mistake, he said quietly. Is there any chance we could? No, I said gently, but firmly, that door is closed. He nodded. I understand. I hope you find happiness, Bianca, you deserve it. For once, I believed him. 6 months later, my consultancy, Caldwell Financial Transitions, was thriving. I'd moved into a larger office, hired 2 associates, and found my purpose. I helped women take control of their financial futures. Amelia visited often. You know what's ironic? She said during one visit. If Dad had just been honest, he might have kept half of everything. Sometimes people can't see past what they want in the moment, I replied. The woman I used to be, Gregory's wife, Amelia's mother, had evolved into something more: mentor, business owner, advocate. That envelope I handed Gregory at the restaurant wasn't just an escape plan, it was a key. A key to a door I hadn't known existed. And behind it, I didn't just find revenge. I found reinvention. In securing my financial future, I had reclaimed something far more valuable: myself.